The biting wind whips at the collar of your worn trench coat, a familiar companion at the International Bridge Toll Plaza at night. Each gust carries the brine tang of the unseen bay and the distant growl of semi-trucks, a lonely symphony against the muted hum of the city. You stand by the concrete barrier, the orange glow of the mercury vapor lamps painting stark shadows across the wet asphalt. Rain, a fine, persistent mist, clings to your eyelashes, blurring the red brake lights receding into the vast, indifferent darkness across the water. You are Chen, and this desolate stretch, where journeys begin or end, feels like a metaphor for your own life. The badge, once a polished star on your chest, now exists only in the haunted corridors of memory. Justice, once a fiery ideal, has dwindled to a cynical ember, flickering in the ash of past betrayals. A car, an older model sedan, pulls up abruptly beside you, its headlights cutting through the damp air. The driver's side window whirs down with a mechanical groan, revealing the anxious face of a woman. Her eyes, wide and bloodshot, are twin pools of desperation. He is the sister. The investigator? You nod, your gaze unwavering, assessing the tremor in her hands clutching the steering wheel. I am. He's gone, she says, the words a desperate plea. My brother. The executive. He vanished. 3 days now. The precinct. They said it's too early. They barely looked. The old bitterness, a familiar ache, tightens in your gut. Too early. You've heard that before. You've said that before. You remember the faces, the pleas that fell on deaf ears, until too early became too late. Details, you command, your voice a gravelly murmur, cutting through the emotional fog. Start from the beginning. Last known whereabouts. She fumbles in the passenger seat, retrieving a creased photograph. The image shows a man in a crisp suit, a forced, uncomfortable smile on his face. He has sharp, intelligent eyes, but a nervous tension around his mouth. The executive. His name is Samuel Thorne, she clarifies, her voice gaining a fragile strength. He works for Oak Haven Industries. High-level finance. He was supposed to be on a business trip. Left for the airport 3 nights ago. Never made his flight. You turn the photo over, scrutinizing the faint crease marks, the slightly faded color. Any enemies? Business rivals? Personal disputes? None that I know of, she insists, shaking her head vehemently. He's meticulous. Precise. He wouldn't just disappear. He has a routine. A family. He's not the type. No one is the type until they are, you think, the unspoken words of phantom weight in your mouth. You remember the clean-cut faces in mugshots, the respectable titles beneath the blood-spattered headlines. Just past the toll booths, on the other side. His briefcase was still inside. Laptop, phone, wallet. Everything. Except him. You glance across the bridge, the long ribbon of asphalt stretching into the city's distant glow. Abandoned, with all his valuables. Not a robbery. Not a simple flight. This detail, a tiny knot in the fabric of the ordinary, begins to pull at something inside you. A flicker. An old instinct. Did anyone see him leave his car, you press? The bridge authority has cameras, she offers, a sliver of hope in her voice. But the detective. He said the footage from that specific lane was corrupted. A glitch. Happens sometimes, he said. A glitch. The word hangs in the air, heavy and suspicious. Corrupted footage at a key moment. Not a coincidence, not in your world. Not anymore. Far from the bureaucracy, far from the compromised ideals. I need to see the vehicle, you tell her, your resolve hardening like the concrete beneath your feet. And the footage. Corrupted or not. Everything. She nods, her eyes reflecting a flicker of renewed hope, a dangerous emotion you try to avoid. You scribble your number on a damp napkin and hand it to her. Go home. Get some rest. I'll be in touch. As her car pulls away, its taillights shrinking into the night, you remain by the barrier. The wind still howls, the rain still falls. But something has shifted. The seemingly simple case of a missing executive, the corporate man with the nervous smile, is already knotting itself into something far more intricate. You taste the metallic tang of impending trouble on your tongue, a taste you know all too well. It's the prelude to a storm, and you, Chen, are already standing at its edge. The old game, the dangerous dance with deceit and power, it beckons you back into its grim embrace. And for the first time in a long time, the cynicism gives way, just a fraction, to a determined spark. You will find out what happened to Samuel Thorne. You will uncover the truth, glitch or no glitch. The rain continues its relentless patter, blurring the city lights across the water into smeared watercolors. The executive's wife, a fleeting silhouette, has vanished, leaving behind only the ghost of her perfume and the unsettling echo of her desperation. You stand, a sentinel against the tempest, the certainty of a simple missing person case eroding like sand beneath a rising tide. Your phone, a cold slab in your gloved hand, vibrates. Not a familiar ring, but a sharp, insistent buzz that slices through the storm's drone. The screen glows, an unknown number. You hesitate, then answer, the receiver pressed tight against your ear. Chen, a voice rasps, thick with static and urgency. It's a junior officer, someone you'd occasionally shared a late-night coffee with back in your old precinct days, a decent soul still caught in the system's gears. They found something. Out by the old industrial wharf. A body. Looks like your guy. The words hit you like a physical blow, though a part of you had already braced for it. The executive. Not missing, but gone. The case, a flickering candle in the wind, has just been doused, replaced by the grim blaze of a murder. Details, you demand, your voice cutting through the static, a sudden clarity in your mind. Wrapped in tarp, dumped near the loading cranes. No ID on him, but the build, the clothes. Fits the description you circulated this morning. The watch, too, they said. Trying to keep it quiet. You need to be careful, Chen. The line clicks dead. You pocket the phone, the world suddenly sharper, colors more vivid, the smell of damp concrete and diesel more pungent. The game has changed. Your determination, a dormant ember, flares into a steady flame. You retrieve your car from the deserted lot, the engine turning over with a low growl that mirrors the nascent anger in your chest. The drive to the old industrial wharf is a blur of streaking lights and slick asphalt. The executive, a man whose smile had been as polished as his shoes, is now just a package of flesh and bone, discarded. The wharf looms, a skeletal outline against the bruised sky. Already, the scene is crawling with flashing blue lights. Uniformed officers mill about, their yellow slickers stark against the gloom. A heavy-set detective, his face a grim mask under the brim of his hat, barks orders. You park your car a discreet distance away, stepping out into the biting air. The stench of brine, decay, and something metallic hangs heavy. You approach the perimeter, a rope of yellow tape strung between two rusted bollards. Chen, the heavy-set detective says, his voice a low rumble, devoid of warmth. He doesn't bother with a formal greeting, the years of unspoken animosity thick between you. What are you doing here? This is police business. The missing executive was my client, you state, your voice calm, steady. I received a tip. Thought I'd confirm. He scoffs, a dismissive sound. Confirm what? That a vagrant got unlucky? This is an open and shut. Probably a robbery gone wrong. Nothing for you, private eye. You ignore his attempt to minimize. Your eyes scan past him, past the cluster of officers, to the dim illumination of a portable floodlight. Too small for a vagrant's makeshift shelter, too still for anything living. Is it him, you ask, your gaze fixed on the tarp? The detective hesitates, a brief, telling pause. We're still processing. Like I said, no ID. But his eyes betray him, flicking towards the covered form, then back to you with a warning glint. You step closer to the tape, your senses heightened. Or something meant to mask a different odor. A small detail, but your mind files it away. Funny, you muse, not taking your eyes off the scene. His wife reported him missing less than 24 hours ago. Now he's a vagrant? That's a quick demographic shift, even for this city. The detective's jaw tightens. I'm telling you, Chen, stay out of this. This isn't your jurisdiction anymore. You're not one of us. No, you agree, your gaze finally meeting his, I'm not. Which means I don't have to follow your rules. You watch him, the subtle shift in his posture, the slight tension in his shoulders. He's protecting something, covering something up. The junior officer's warning rings true. You see a glint of gold near the tarp, half hidden by a discarded oil drum. A cufflink. A distinctive, intricate design, almost a miniature crest. You remember the wife's description of her husband's fastidious nature, his expensive tastes. This could be it. Is that a cufflink, you ask, pointing subtly? The detective follows your gaze, a flash of annoyance crossing his face. He barks at a nearby officer, get that secured. Don't let anything get contaminated. Too late. You've seen it. Another piece of the puzzle, small but significant. The executive wore cufflinks. Expensive ones. This isn't a simple robbery, is it? You say, your voice low, almost a challenge. This is something else. The detective steps forward, his bulk an intimidating presence. I'm giving you one warning, Chen. Leave. Now. Or I'll have you removed. You hold his gaze, unblinking. You know you've found your missing executive. The city, in its vast indifference, has revealed another of its ugly secrets, and you, Chen, are now inextricably bound to it. You turn, the detective's threats echoing behind you, but your steps are firm. The hunt has begun. The city, in its vast, indifferent sprawl, had swallowed another soul, only to spit it back out, broken and cold, into your waiting hands. The rain, a ceaseless lament, still slicked the asphalt, mirroring the sheen on the tarp that now hid the executive from the world. You watched the official procedures unfold, a familiar dance of flashing lights and hushed commands. The detective, a man whose face carried the permanent etch of too many sleepless nights, approaches you. He gestures vaguely towards the tarp. Looks like a message. His eyes flick to your hand, a subtle movement, but you know he saw the quick, almost imperceptible brush as you secured the cufflink, the silver gleam now hidden within your palm. The official channel would catalog it, process it, perhaps even misplace it. You needed it closer. This glint of metal, bearing an intricate, almost forgotten crest, was your first thread. The night deepens, but your search has only just begun. The executive's apartment building looms, a glass and steel monolith reflecting the city's neon pulse. Gaining entry requires a blend of old habits and new ingenuity. The concierge, a young man with too much responsibility and too little pay, is easily convinced by a carefully placed word and a well-timed flash of your old badge, still tucked away for moments of necessary deception. You move through the space, a phantom in the executive's meticulously curated life. Dust motes dance in the slivers of moonlight piercing the expensive blinds. Nothing feels out of place, yet everything feels wrong. It's too clean, too perfect, a stage set for an absence. Then, tucked beneath a stack of financial reports, you find it. Not a note, not a confession, but a small, unassuming leather bookmark. Its texture is smooth, expensive. It's a symbol, etched with precision, matching the crest on the cufflink, a stylized eagle gripping a lightning bolt. Beneath it, in microprint, the words Aegis Solutions. Aegis Solutions. The pieces begin to click, unsettlingly. This wasn't just a murder, it was an act of corporate violence, shielded by layers of power. Hours later, the apartment stripped of its secrets, you drive, the city lights blurring into streaks of crimson and gold. The cufflink and the bookmark lie heavy in your coat pocket, tangible proof of a connection that prickles your skin with unease. The air here hums with the low thrum of engines and the distant rush of water. You approach a toll booth, the automated arm lifting with a mechanical sigh. As you pass through, a flash of movement catches your eye in your rearview mirror. A black sedan, windows tinted beyond transparency, had been idling just behind the booth, out of sight until now. It pulls out, slowly, deliberately, falling in behind you. Your grip tightens on the steering wheel. This isn't random. The sedan maintains a precise distance, neither too close nor too far, a silent predator in the urban night. There's no aggressive maneuvering, no flashing of lights. Just an unwavering presence. As you crest the bridge, the city skyline spread out like a glittering wound, the sedan suddenly accelerates. It doesn't overtake you. But a hand emerges, gloved in black leather, and holds something aloft for a fleeting moment. It's small, metallic, glinting under the bridge lights. A duplicate of the cufflink you pocketed hours ago. They know. They know what you found. They know you're digging. And they are watching. You are left alone on the bridge, the echo of that metallic glint burning in your mind. This isn't just about a missing executive and a powerful corporation. This is about a warning, delivered with surgical precision. They wanted you to stop. You would only dig deeper. The raw scent of damp earth and something metallic clings to the air, a shroud over the newly discovered truth. Your gaze, hard and unwavering, sweeps over the scene, past the grim face of the detective who watches you with a familiar mix of suspicion and grudging respect. You offer no reply, your mind already dissecting the tableau, searching for the whispers the official investigation might miss. The victim's hands are bound with a rough twine, a knot so particular it pricks at the edges of your memory. Not a common sailor's hitch, nor a simple restraint. It's a specific, almost ceremonial bind, one you've seen before in the shadowed corners of your past, cases that gnawed at you long after the files were closed. A faint, acrid smell, like burnt sugar mixed with something organic, drifts from the victim's chest. You lean closer, ignoring the detective's warning glance, and see it, a small, circular burn mark, precise and deep, just above the sternum. Not a cigarette burn, nor a branding iron. It's too neat, too deliberate, almost like a sigil. This isn't random. This speaks of intent, of a signature. That knot, you murmur, more to yourself than to the detective. And the mark. It's familiar. The detective merely grunts, waving over a colleague with a camera. Focus on what's here, Chen. Don't go chasing ghosts. But the ghosts are already stirring. You know this knot, this mark. But your gut, your relentless, stubborn gut, tells you otherwise. This is the same handiwork. You spend another hour at the scene, observing the meticulous work of the crime scene unit, but your mind is already miles away, sifting through forgotten files, old contacts. The detective's words about not chasing ghosts only strengthen your resolve. The city's official channels are often blind to what they don't want to see, or what they're paid to ignore. You need answers, and the official channels won't provide them. The structure looms, a skeletal silhouette against the bruised sky, its concrete veins humming with the passage of commerce and secrets. The air here is thick with exhaust fumes, the distant rumble of trucks, and the intermittent clang of metal as containers are shifted in the nearby yard. You park your vehicle in a dimly lit corner of the plaza, near a forgotten maintenance shed, the engine ticking softly as it cools. It's the weight of what you carry, the nascent truth of a pattern resurfacing. His face is gaunt, etched with the anxieties of a life lived on the fringes, his eyes darting, perpetually searching for threats. Barely audible above the hum of the plaza. You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse, you reply, stepping closer. Tell me about the knot. The one like a sailor's, but not. And the burn mark, small, round, precise. The collector's eyes widen, and he visibly recoils, his breath catching. He glances nervously over his shoulder, into the inky blackness beyond the toll booths. That again? You digging up old graves, Chen? That's dangerous ground. They don't like it when you dig. Who are they? You press, your tone firm, unyielding. Tell me what you know. He hesitates, his gaze sweeping the empty plaza, his fear palpable. It's the same. The same signature. Years ago, remember? The quiet ones. The ones who just vanished. Then turned up, just like your new friend. Always that knot. And the mark. They said it was the eye of the flock. A jolt of recognition spears through you. The shepherd's bind. The eye of the flock. The names resonate with the forgotten files, the hushed rumors that never made it into official reports. Who was the shepherd, collector? Who owns the flock? The collector shakes his head, his face pale. No names, Chen. Not out here. Not ever. Just big fish. The kind that swim in circles you don't want to be near. The ones who build the bridges, who own the land, who pull the strings. They make things disappear, not just people. Problems. Debts. Truths. He gestures vaguely towards the gleaming towers of the city skyline, visible in the distance, a glittering testament to power and wealth. It's always about the network, Chen. A name, a date. Another quiet one, from way back. Same MO. He was supposed to be a nobody. But he knew something. Just like your missing man, I bet. You unfold the paper, the harsh light from the toll booth illuminating a hastily scrawled name and a date from nearly a decade ago. A new thread in the tapestry of lies, leading back into the past, connecting the present horror to a forgotten injustice. The determination in your eyes hardens. The hunt has just begun. Norris Thorne. A name from the city's forgotten past, yet now vibrating with an unsettling resonance, a ghost summoned by the present's urgent need. You fold the paper, tucking it into the worn leather of your wallet, a new weight against your chest. The air here, thick with diesel fumes and the hum of distant traffic, feels charged with unspoken histories. The missing person, the hidden messages, the desperate plea of the family all coalesce around this decade-old thread. You are no longer chasing a single shadow, you are unearthing a buried landscape. The night is a canvas for your thoughts. The name tickles the edges of your memory, a fragment from a time when your badge still gleamed with unblemished hope. A low-level bureaucrat, wasn't he? Involved in the city's massive gateway project, the ambitious, sprawling development that promised to revitalize the waterfront, only to languish in perpetual delays and escalating costs. The date, October 17, 2014, gnaws at you. It was around the time the project hit its first major snag, a scandal quickly doused, details obscured by official statements and swift resignations. Your instincts, honed by years of sifting through human deceit, scream that the connection is not coincidental. You need to find out what happened to Norris Thorne, what he knew, and why his name has resurfaced now, a decade later, in the hand of a reclusive toll collector. Your destination is a place few remember, a forgotten corner of the municipal archives, tucked away in the labyrinthine basement of the old city hall. The building stands like a hulking sentinel, its stone facade grim under the moon. Inside, the air is cool and still, carrying the scent of dust and aging paper. The lone archivist, a stooped figure with spectacles perched on his nose, barely registers your presence, accustomed to the quiet solitude of his domain. I need access to the Gateway Project files. His gaze distant. A deep dive, then. Those files are extensive and not frequently requested. He leads you through aisles of metal shelving, past boxes overflowing with forgotten histories, to a section marked Urban Development, Classified. He pulls a heavy, yellowed box from a high shelf, its label faded but legible. This should be a good starting point. You settle at a long, oak table, the single overhead lamp casting a stark circle of light. Dust motes dance in the beam, tiny witnesses to the past you are about to disturb. You open the box. The first few folders are mundane budgets, meeting minutes, environmental impact assessments. But then, you find it. A slim, unmarked folder tucked beneath a stack of contractor invoices. Inside, a series of internal memos, carbon copies, their edges brittle. Your eyes scan the dates, the recipients, the subject lines. They detail a series of complaints from a mid-level project manager, a Norris Thorne, regarding structural integrity concerns and unexplained budget reallocations within the Gateway project. His language grows increasingly urgent, his tone shifting from professional concern to thinly veiled alarm. He mentions directives from above to ignore safety protocols and expedite approvals despite red flags. Then, a handwritten note, scrawled across the bottom of a memo dated October 16, 2014, meeting with the city councilor and the CEO. They say it's settled, but it's not. Not for me. I can't sign off on this. I'll go public if I have to. NT. Your breath catches. The day before the date on the toll collector's paper. You dig deeper, your fingers flying through the brittle pages. The next document is a formal resignation letter from Norris Thorne, dated October 18, 2014, citing personal reasons. Too neat, too swift. This isn't just about a missing person named Elias Thorne, the man you're searching for now. It's about his father, Norris Thorne, and a cover-up stretching back a decade. The realization hits you with the force of a physical blow. Elias isn't just missing, he's digging into his father's past, into the very same corruption that swallowed him. You find a final, unsettling piece of paper in the folder, a faded photograph. It shows Norris Thorne, a younger, earnest man, standing beside a beaming city councilor and a formidable corporate CEO, both shaking hands over a model of the Gateway project. The city councilor, now a powerful figure in the mayor's office. The CEO, still at the helm of a massive construction conglomerate that has since expanded its empire across the continent. The names, or rather, the roles, click into place. The missing Elias, the desperate family, the veiled threats, it's all connected to this old wound, this systemic rot. You see the true scope of the conspiracy now, a hydra-headed beast with roots deep in the city's foundation, nurtured by corporate greed and protected by political power. Elias Thorne wasn't just a missing person, he was a threat, a loose end, trying to expose the very people who buried his father's truth. The air in the archive grows heavy, thick with the weight of this revelation. You are no longer just an investigator, you are an archaeologist of corruption, unearthing a conspiracy that could bring down pillars of this city. And in doing so, you have painted a target on your own back. The tension hums, a low, dangerous thrum beneath your skin. You have found your glimmer of truth, but it illuminates a path fraught with peril. The brittle pages crinkle under your hurried touch. The resignation letter, dated October 18, 2014, from Norris Thorne, a man who vanished. And then, the toll collector's paper, a receipt from the day before, October 17. A ghost of a detail, yet it screams. Not a casual departure, but a planned vanishing act. You trace the faded ink with a finger, the chill of realization a slow seep into your bones. A sudden, sharp clang from outside jolts you from the file's grip. The old building hums with the city's distant thrum, but this sound is closer, metallic, violent. Your head snaps up, eyes scanning the dim workshop. Had you left the garage door ajar? No answer. Your daughter, usually a whirlwind of questions and late-night snacks, is quiet. Too quiet. You had promised her a late-night drive for ice cream, a small rebellion against bedtime, a tradition you clung to. You snatch your jacket, the weight of the old service revolver a familiar comfort against your hip. Every step is deliberate, an echo in the empty space, as you move towards the garage. The garage door, usually a stubborn beast, is slightly ajar, a sliver of the bruised indigo night visible. Pushing it open, you step into the alley. The air bites, sharp and unforgiving. Your gaze sweeps the deserted street, then settles on your car. The driver's side window is shattered, a spiderweb of cracks radiating from a gaping hole. Glass shards glitter like scattered diamonds on the asphalt. And then you see it, a single, small, pink hair clip, Lily's favorite, resting on the shattered seat, a mocking punctuation mark to the violence. A low growl rumbles in your chest. They knew. They didn't just know you were digging, they knew about Lily. The ice cream trip. The routine. You call her name again, louder this time, the sound tearing through the quiet night. No response. You remember the broken landline in the workshop, an oversight you'd meant to fix. They want to send a message. And you just received it. You race back inside, grabbing the car keys, the engine refusing to turn over on the first try. A frustrated curse rips from your throat. On the second, it sputters to life, coughing black smoke. The city lights blur into streaks of color as you push the speedometer higher, your mind a frantic scramble of possibilities. Where would they take her? Who would be so brazen? The conspirators. The ones Norris Thorne knew. The ones you were closing in on. Your hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles white. The memory of the toll paper flashes, a beacon in the storm. It's a long shot, a desperate gamble, but a place they might use for a rendezvous, a handoff, or simply to show their power. The concrete behemoth of the International Bridge looms ahead, its steel skeleton etched against the moonless sky. The toll collector, a young woman with tired eyes, stares at your frantic face as you pull up to her booth. "Sir, your toll," she says, her voice flat. You shove a crumpled bill at her, your gaze fixed on the expanse beyond. "Have you seen a young girl?" "Not tonight. It's been quiet." Your heart sinks, but then a movement catches your eye. A black sedan, windows tinted opaque, parked oddly near one of the unused booths, further down. A prickle of unease crawls up your spine. You swing the car around, ignoring the toll collector's startled gasp, and accelerate towards the sedan. As you draw closer, a figure emerges from the driver's side, tall and lean, silhouetted against the distant city glow. He holds something small, a bundle, in his arms. Lily! A primal roar tears from your throat. The figure stops, turns slowly. He isn't alone. Another, bulkier shape detaches from the sedan's passenger side, a glint of metal in his hand. The first man, the one holding Lily, raises his free hand. In it, a small, laminated card. Your old detective ID. A taunt. A message. You're getting too close, Chen, a voice, distorted by the wind, carries across the asphalt. This is your warning. Walk away. Lily stirs in his arms, a small whimper escaping her lips. They had her. They were using her. You touch her, you snarl, leveling the revolver, and I'll burn this city down around you. The man holding Lily takes a step back, melting into the shadow of the sedan. The second figure, the one with the glinting metal, raises his arm. A muted pop, and a bullet whizzes past your ear, kicking up sparks from the concrete barrier behind you. Not a kill shot, a warning. But a warning with lethal intent. You dive behind your car, the asphalt rough against your cheek. This isn't just a case anymore. This is everything. This is personal. The conspiracy, the missing man, the corporate greed, it all coalesces into the face of your terrified child. Another shot rings out, closer this time, tearing through the metal of your vehicle. You return fire, a wild, desperate shot aimed at the bulkier figure. He flinches, ducks behind the sedan. The man holding Lily uses the momentary distraction. He shoves her into the passenger seat of their car, then slides in himself. The engine roars to life. Your legs pump, a desperate, futile chase. The wind whips around you, carrying the phantom scent of burnt rubber and fear. They took her. Your daughter. They took her to stop you. But they have only succeeded in forging your resolve into something unbreakable. The case is no longer a puzzle to solve, it is a war to win. And then, you will make them pay. The game has changed. The sedan, a black void swallowing the figures and Lily, has vanished into the borderland mist, leaving only the cold, unyielding concrete barrier behind you, scarred by a fresh gouge. It wasn't a kill shot, you realize, tracing the jagged imperfection with a numb finger. It was a declaration, a cold whisper in the dark, we know you're here, and we're watching. A chill, deeper than the night air, seeps into your bones. The direct approach, the desperate lunge, failed. They hold Lily, a pawn in a game you barely comprehend, and now they've upped the stakes. Your reflection in the dark glass of the toll booth shows a face etched with grim resolve. This isn't about rescue anymore, not solely. It's about dismantling the entire edifice, brick by corrupt brick, until Lily is free and the architects of this quiet horror are brought to light. You need leverage, irrefutable proof, something that even the most deeply entrenched power brokers cannot ignore or bury. Your target, the private servers of the city's chief administrator, rumored to hold records far beyond public scrutiny. You recall the hushed conversations, the nervous glances whenever his name arose in the old precinct halls. Until now. Hours later, the city sleeps, a tapestry of muted streetlights and silent windows. You've studied the schematics, memorized the patrol routes of the internal security detail, a relic of your former life, now a sharpened tool in a different kind of hunt. A service entrance, less guarded, provides your ingress. The lock yields to your practiced touch, a soft click swallowed by the hum of the building's unseen machinery. The server room is a temple of blinking lights and droning fans, rows of black monoliths housing secrets. A specific rack, identified by its serial number, holds the target. You connect a specialized data siphon, the small device glowing with a faint blue light as it begins its silent work. Every second stretches, a taut wire humming with impending discovery. The digital currents flow, pulling encrypted files, financial ledgers, private communications, a torrent of information you pray holds the truth. Minutes feel like an eternity. The progress bar crawls. This data, once in your hands, will peel back the layers of their elaborate deception. Finally, the siphon blinks green. You pull it free, its small memory chip now heavy with the weight of illicit truths. The quiet escape is as seamless as the entry, leaving no trace, only the lingering scent of ozone and the silent hum of the servers. Back in the relative anonymity of your own hidden space, the raw data unfurls. Encrypted files decrypt under your careful hand, revealing a sprawling network of shell corporations, offshore accounts, and illicit land deals. Lily's name appears, linked to a property dispute, a valuable parcel of land sought by a development firm with ties to the chief administrator. The scope is breathtaking, reaching into every corner of the city's power structure. You need help, a trusted hand to verify, to disseminate this. One name emerges from the depths of your memory, a former colleague from your precinct days, the detective. You remember his sharp mind, his unshakable integrity. The diner is a relic, neon sign flickering, casting a sickly green glow on the rain-slicked pavement. You sit in a worn booth, the lukewarm coffee steaming faintly, the weight of the evidence heavy in your coat pocket. The detective arrives, his gait familiar, his face etched with the years. It illuminates the rot. You lay out the findings, the chief administrator, the land deals, Lily's connection, the sheer audacity of it all. You watch his face, searching for the familiar outrage, the spark of shared purpose. Instead, a subtle tension grips his jaw. His gaze shifts, not to you, but to the diner's entrance, then back, too quickly. "This is big, Chen," he murmurs, picking up the siphon. His fingers trace its smooth surface. "Bigger than you know." A knot tightens in your gut. His words, his manner, a discordant note in the symphony of trust. "We can bring them down," you urge, leaning forward, the raw hope in your voice betraying your vulnerability. Two figures, large and unyielding, step into the neon glow. Not officers. Not colleagues. Just muscle, their eyes fixed on you. The detective pockets the siphon. "You should have stayed gone, Chen," he says, his voice now devoid of any pretense of friendship. A stunning realization that unravels the very fabric of your trust. The evidence, the precious, hard-won proof, is now in his hands, or rather, in theirs. You stare at him, the man you once called friend, now a stranger shrouded in the same corruption you seek to destroy. You are truly alone now, the hunt intensified, the stakes immeasurable. The betrayal curdles in your gut, a rancid taste that coats your tongue. Your former partner, the man whose shadow you once trusted implicitly, has not merely sold you out, he has set a trap, baited with your very reputation. The stolen evidence, the meticulous stack of documents and digital trails, now forms the scaffold of your undoing. The morning papers scream your name, not as a seeker of truth, but as a perpetrator. Disgraced detective implicated in Syndicate murder, one headline blazes, a stark black lie against the pale newsprint. The accompanying photo, a grainy shot from an old case file, makes your own face a stranger to you, eyes shadowed with manufactured guilt. You are framed, a convenient scapegoat for the very conspiracy you've been fighting to expose. Your phone, once a lifeline, now rings with unknown numbers, then falls silent, a useless weight in your palm. Bank accounts, you discover with a jolt of ice in your veins, are frozen. Access revoked. Every digital breadcrumb you've ever left has been meticulously erased or twisted against you. Your modest apartment, the only sanctuary left, is no longer safe. You see the glint of a camera lens from the building opposite, a phantom eye tracking your every move. The city, your city, has turned its back, its concrete embrace now a chokehold. You move, a phantom yourself, through the labyrinthine back alleys, the scent of damp refuse and stale beer your only companions. The constant hum of the city, usually a comfort, now pulses with a malevolent rhythm, a countdown. You are an outcast, stripped bare, your resources vanished like smoke in a gale. The air here is thick with the rumble of distant engines, the low thrum of heavy vehicles crossing the border. Tail lights, red jewels in the gloom, streak across the horizon, heading into another country, another jurisdiction. You watch them, a silent procession of lives moving onward, while your own has slammed into a wall. A sudden, sharp memory pierces the haze of your despair. A conversation, overheard weeks ago in a diner, between two low-level enforcers you'd been tracking. The old crossing, one had grumbled, always the riskiest. Too many eyes, too many systems. You hadn't thought much of it then, dismissing it as routine grumbling. The missing person, the catalyst for this entire nightmare, vanished near another, lesser-known crossing point, an abandoned railway bridge downstream, rarely used by official traffic, but a known conduit for illicit goods. If the old crossing, this bridge, had too many systems, then perhaps those systems, designed to catch contraband and illegal crossings, had inadvertently captured something else. Something they didn't know they had, something they didn't realize was evidence. Your mind races, connecting the dots through the pulsing headache behind your eyes. Your former partner wouldn't have just stolen the evidence, he would have planted counter-evidence. Something to frame you, yes, but also something to obscure the real trail. The media blitz, the frozen accounts, the surveillance, it's all designed to keep you from looking in the right places, to discredit anything you might say. But what if the too many systems here, at the official crossing, held a ghost, a glitch, a piece of residual data that no one had bothered to clean up because they didn't know what it was? You remember the casual mention of a specific, obscure brand of foreign-made surveillance camera, a brand known for its unreliable, sometimes glitchy, data transfer protocols. One of those cameras, you recall from a hastily reviewed crime scene photo, had been mounted near the entry point of this very bridge, overlooking a seldom-used service lane. It was a detail you'd noted but never circled, lost in the flurry of more pressing leads. A desperate, risky plan begins to form, a fragile scaffolding built on fragments of memory and a sudden, burning certainty. If the old crossing had too many systems, then one of them, perhaps the very one designed to monitor for irregularities in traffic flow, might have inadvertently recorded the true passage of something, or someone, connected to the conspiracy, before your former partner could scrub it. The data might be corrupted, buried deep, or simply mislabeled, but it wouldn't be gone. There's one person, a former contact from your days on the force, a data specialist who owed you a favor from a case you quietly solved for his troubled nephew. He operated outside the system, a ghost in the machine, and he was the only one who could navigate the digital detritus of an international border crossing without triggering alarms. He was your last resort, your desperate gamble. You dial, your fingers surprisingly steady. Look for the glitches, the corrupted files. Then, you're a dead man walking, Shen. What makes you think you'll find anything? Because, you say, your voice hardening, they tried too hard to bury it. And because no system is ever truly foolproof. The line goes dead. You pocket the phone, the cold metal a small comfort. But you are not broken. You have your wits, a fragile thread to a past connection, and a desperate, risky plan. The night is vast, but so is your resolve. You will find the truth, even if you have to tear the city apart to do it. Sodium lamps cast an anemic glow, painting the concrete in sickly yellow and deep, unforgiving shadows. The air hums with the distant thrum of heavy vehicles and the closer, sharper whine of wind turbine generators across the water. Each gust carries the faint, metallic scent of exhaust and the cold, clean tang of the river. You watch the approach, a sleek black sedan, its windows tinted, moving with an almost predatory grace through the empty lanes. The passenger door opens, a silent invitation, or perhaps, a challenge. You step forward, your footsteps crunching on loose gravel, each sound amplified in the vast, open space. The interior of the car is a cocoon of muted leather and expensive electronics. The executive, silver-haired and impeccably dressed, sits in the back, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on their lips. Their eyes, sharp and unblinking, meet yours. Chen, the executive's voice is a low rumble, surprisingly calm. You have a flair for the dramatic. This desolate place. Why here? You don't enter the car. You lean against the open doorframe, your posture conveying a quiet strength. Because here, the lines blur. between countries, between what's visible and what's hidden. And because here, the wind carries secrets. Your gaze sweeps over the bridge, the skeletal structure disappearing into the inky horizon. Like the secrets of the missing person, the one your system tried so hard to erase. The executive's smile tightens. A regrettable incident. A lone wolf, a rogue element. It was handled. Handled? You push off the car, circling slowly, your voice gaining a quiet intensity. Or buried? The missing person wasn't a rogue. They were a threat. A witness to the true scope of your operations. That accidental death was a convenience, wasn't it? Only conjecture from a discredited investigator. I have more than conjecture. You stop, facing them directly through the open door. I have the logs from the abandoned factory warehouse, showing unscheduled late-night deliveries, weeks after it was supposedly decommissioned. I have the financial records, doctored, yes. Business dealings. You're grasping at straws, Chen. Am I? You pull a small, encrypted data stick from your pocket. It gleams dully in the dim light. This contains a digital ledger. Not the one you presented to the city council, but the real one. The one the missing person copied, just before they vanished. It details the true beneficiaries of your resource redistribution scheme. It names names, dates, amounts. And it implicates not just you, but the city councilor, the head of the procurement committee, and several high-ranking officials in the regulatory oversight office. The executive's composure cracks. We purged everything. The system was foolproof. No system is ever truly foolproof. You repeat the words that have become your mantra. Especially when greed overrides caution. The missing person was meticulous. They understood the pattern, the way the funds were diverted, disguised as legitimate expenses for phantom projects. They saw the shell corporations as what they were, conduits for illicit wealth, and they downloaded the proof onto this very stick. You hold it up, a tiny, potent weapon. You won't get away with this, the executive hisses, their voice losing its smooth calm. You expose this, and you expose yourself. You're a fugitive. No one will believe you. Perhaps not immediately, you concede, a ghost of a smile touching your lips. But this data stick is not my only copy. It's already in the hands of someone who still believes in justice, someone who has the resources to make sure it sees the light of day, even if I don't. You watch their face, the dawning realization. The trap has sprung. You tried to bury a truth that was too big, too intricate, for one person to conceal. The missing person was just the first domino. Now, the entire network is poised to fall. Who, the executive demands, their voice tight with genuine alarm. Who has it? That, my friend, you say, pushing the data stick back into your pocket, is a detail I'm keeping to myself for now. But know this, the public reckoning is coming. The names, the dates, the phantom projects, they will all be laid bare. You have laid the groundwork. The stage is set. The final act, a brutal unveiling, is about to begin. Headlights flash like predatory eyes in the distance, momentarily illuminating the concrete expanse before plunging it back into the shifting shadows cast by the plaza's towering lights. You stand exposed, yet resolute, the executive before you a study in barely contained fury. Their face, still locked in that mask of disbelief, now twitches with a nascent rage. You think you've won, Chen, the executive snarls. Their voice a low rasp that struggles against the wind's howl. You've got nothing but conjecture, a disgraced investigator's delusions. They take a step closer. Their shadow stretching long and distorted in the artificial glow. Walk away. Forget this. There's still a way out for you. You meet their gaze, unwavering. They were the first thread in a tapestry of lies you wove. The executive's jaw tightens. They were an inconvenience. A nobody. Who's going to listen to you? You lift your hand, a small, worn audio recorder nestled in your palm. The ghost, as you call them, left behind more than just a memory. You press a button. The wind momentarily stills, or perhaps your focus sharpens, because a voice, faint but undeniably clear, fills the space between you. The plans for the expansion. The environmental reports were fudged, badly. And that analyst, Chen, the one who went missing, they found it. They had the hard drive. Take care of it and them. Make it look like an accident. A tragic disappearance. The recording clicks off. Their eyes, wide with sudden, dawning horror, dart around the empty plaza. Their name was actually Chen. A tragic coincidence, wouldn't you say? Almost poetic. You watch as the executive's carefully constructed composure shatters, a tremor running through their frame. You thought you covered your tracks. You thought a name change would be enough. But the missing person was smarter than you gave them credit for. They duplicated the drive, sent it to a secure location, and left a dead man switch. That recording? It wasn't the only one. The executive lunges. Not with a weapon, but with the desperate, flailing fury of a cornered animal. Their hands reach for your throat, their eyes wild. But you anticipate the move, stepping back, your body light and quick. Their momentum carries them forward, stumbling, catching themselves on a concrete barrier near a toll booth. Just then, a white panel van, previously parked discreetly near the entrance to the plaza, flashes its high beams. Its side door slides open with a pneumatic hiss. A blinding spotlight snaps on, illuminating the executive, caught in their moment of rage and desperation. Behind the light, a journalist, mic in hand, steps out, their face grimly serious. Beside them, a colleague, holding a camera, its red recording light glowing like a malevolent eye. They look from the camera to you, then to the distant, indifferent lights of the bridge. The wind, once a mere nuisance, now feels like a freezing judgment. Your long game, meticulously played, has delivered its dramatic public revelation. The stage is set, not just for their downfall, but for the unraveling of the entire corrupt web. Your gaze holds theirs, unwavering, the small recording device clutched in your hand a silent testament to the edifice of their fear. The wind whips past, carrying the distant drone of traffic, a stark counterpoint to the unraveling silence between you. They stare at the camera, then at the vast, dark river below, a final, desperate scan for escape. Tell them everything. You gesture subtly to the device, its tiny red light a relentless eye. The missing person. The corporation. The council members. The bribes. The murder. A shudder rakes through the executive's frame. Their shoulders slump, the tailored fabric of their coats suddenly seeming too heavy. The defiance, a fragile mask, cracks and shatters. The project. The eminent domain. We needed it clean. The missing person. They knew too much. Had proof. We tried to buy them off. When that failed, the instruction came down. From above. The ones who questioned the zoning, the budget overruns, the environmental reports? Collateral, the executive rasps, their eyes glassy, fixed on some unseen horror beyond the bridge's steel skeletal frame. Mistakes. Loose ends. The project couldn't stop. Too many invested. Too much money. Political careers. Legacies. They name a council member, a prominent developer, an influential lobbyist, names that have long haunted your memory, whispered in hushed tones in the city's shadowed corners. The web, vast and intricate, finally comes into sharp focus. The missing person wasn't just a victim, they were the thread that, once pulled, unraveled the entire tapestry of corruption. Just then, the wail of sirens pierces the night, growing louder, closer. Blue and red strobes begin to paint the asphalt, reflecting off the metal railings and the executive's pale, drawn face. The detective's unmarked vehicle pulls up first, its headlights bathing the scene in stark light. The detective steps out, their gaze locking onto yours, then the executive, then the device in your hand. And it's all here. You extend the recording device. The full confession. Names. Dates. Motives. Everything. Uniformed officers move in, their movements precise, professional. The executive offers no resistance, their shoulders still hunched, their spirit broken. As they are led away, their eyes meet yours one last time, a flicker of something unreadable, defeat, perhaps even a strange, twisted relief. The subsequent days become a blur of media frenzy and legal proceedings. The city reels. The broadcasts are relentless, the headlines screaming of corporate malfeasance and political betrayal. The evidence you've painstakingly gathered, corroborated by the executive's confession and the subsequent swift arrests of other key players, becomes an undeniable tide. The missing person's remains are located, the grim discovery bringing a heartbreaking finality to their family, but also the first true step towards closure. The mayor issues a tearful apology, promising comprehensive reforms. Several council members resign in disgrace, their careers shattered. The corporation at the heart of the scandal sees its stock plummet, its projects halted, its reputation irrevocably stained. The city, for so long simmering under a veneer of prosperity, finally confronts its festering wounds. There is anger, a profound sense of betrayal, but also a nascent hope for a cleaner future. The house, long neglected, begins its painful, necessary purge. For you, the immediate aftermath is a quiet, profound exhaustion. The relentless drive that propelled you through the labyrinth of lies finally recedes, leaving behind a vast, empty space. You watch the news reports from the solitude of your office, the faces of the accused, the tearful statements of the victims' families. The justice served, while significant, feels heavy, purchased at a steep price. The detective visits your office weeks later, the smell of fresh coffee filling the air. Good work, Chen, they say, their gaze direct, appraising. You cracked it wide open. The city owes you. You shrug, looking out at the rain-streaked window. Just finished a job. It was more than that, they counter softly. You put your life on the line. About the force. About perhaps. A way back. You turn from the window, a small, wry smile playing on your lips. The uniform, the badge, the structured life, a ghost from another time. You've learned to trust your instincts, to navigate the gray areas, to fight for justice not within a system, but despite it. My path is different now, you tell the detective. The weight of your past disgrace has lightened, not vanished, but transformed into a resolve. You are not redeemed by absolution, but by action. The city will rebuild, slowly, imperfectly. The scars will remain, but so too will the lessons, and you? The fight for justice is never truly over, it simply shifts its form. You are Chen, a man forever changed, forever marked, but finally, wholly, decisively, free to follow the faint, persistent call of the truth. Your journey has ended, but a new path, forged in the crucible of your own making, now stretches out before you, beckoning.